ముందుగా ప్రియమైన విద్యార్థులకు మరియు వారి తల్లిదండ్రులకు నమస్కారం. నా పేరు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ చైర్మన్. నేను ఈ రోజు 10th క్లాస్ విద్యార్థులను దృష్టిలో పెట్టుకొని మాట్లాడడం జరుగుతుంది. అది ఏమిటనగా, మనందరికీ తెలుసు, గత 2 సంవత్సరాలుగా కరోనా కారణంగా విద్యార్థులు ఎటువంటి పరీక్షలు రాయకుండానే పై తరగతులు పంపడం జరుగుతుంది. ఫలితంగా ఐఐటి జేఈ మరియు నీట్ లాంటి జాతీయ స్థాయి పరీక్షలను సాధించడం కష్టతరం అవుతుంది. దీనిని అధిగమించడానికి మరియు 10వ తరగతి పరీక్షలో అత్యధిక మార్కులు సాధించడానికి నేను మీ ముందుకు కె వెంకన్న జూనియర్ కాలేజ్ ప్లాట్ఫామ్ ద్వారా అనుభవజ్ఞులైన అధ్యాపకులచే ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులు, హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్ మరియు గత ప్రశ్నపత్రాల సమాధానాల విశ్లేషణ ఇవ్వబడును. కాబట్టి నేను విద్యార్థులకు చెప్పదలుచుకున్నది ఏంటంటే, ఈ ఉచిత వీడియో క్లాసులను మరియు హ్యాండ్ రిటన్ నోట్స్లను క్లాస్ రూమ్లో కూర్చొని చదువుకున్నంత సీరియస్గా చదువుకోవాలను. ఇంకొకటి ఏమిటనగా, ఈ యొక్క క్లాసులు విన్న వెంటనే అర్థం చేసుకొని ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయవలను. ప్రాక్టీస్ చేయడం అంటే కేవలం చదవడం కాదు, పేపర్ మీద రాయవలను. అలాగైతే గుర్తుండిపోతుంది. దీంతో పాటు మీ యొక్క నాలెడ్జ్ని పరీక్షించుకునే కొరకు త్వరలో ప్రీ ఫైనల్ పరీక్షలు కూడా నిర్వహించబడు. ఈ యొక్క అవకాశాన్ని సద్వినియోగం చేసుకోవాలని 10th చదివే విద్యార్థులకు విజ్ఞప్తి చేస్తున్నాను.
Welcome to K Venkanna classes, ma. So in this video we are going to discuss about the events in the respiration. So we have already seen the introduction in the respiration, like we have seen both how it takes in the animal respiration and plant respiration we have seen. Now just we are going deep into it. We have started the animal respiration. So what are the events in the respiration? So like I have drawn the figure for you. So it is the block diagram. So in the examination, how they ask the question here is, please draw a block diagram showing the events in the respiration. They may ask you the question like this, or simply directly they can ask you the question here. What are the events in the respiration? So definitely you need to draw this diagram and write some points, and including with this in detail they may ask you even the cellular respiration here also. So we'll go with one by one. So what is a breathing here? So these are all the step by step process, okay, connected to one another, one after the next one. So it is like a serial, a sequence order, okay. There is no missing in the steps, okay. Everything happens in a serial wise, one after the other. These are all the events that takes place in the any organism. Like we have the different organs for respiration. Can you tell the different organs for respiration? Like it varies with the species. Like human being you take. Okay, what is the organ of respiration? Can you tell it? What is the organ for respiration? Lung, definitely. Okay, then let us take another example. Fish you take. How does it breathe? By means of gills. So we call it as bronchial respiration. Okay, for lung we call it pulmonary respiration, and for gills we call it as the bronchial respiration. And you take any snakes like that, okay. How they respire? By their skin, okay. The snakes will have some small pores on the skin. That's called the cutaneous respiration, by skin, okay. A well-known example is there for your frog. Frog, it has 2 stages. One is the larval stages and the adult stage. The frog is both, it can live both on land as well as on the water. Hence it is called the amphibian. So when the frog is in the water, right, it uses the gills for respiration. So when it is on the ground, okay, on the level of the ground, so it uses the lung. Okay, did you understand? So this amphibian frog, it uses both the gills as well as the skin. Okay, understood ma? So these are some certain examples. Like what I mean to say is here, for respiration, the organs varies from one organism to another organism. These are some certain examples for you. Human beings, they use lungs here. Human ఏం చేస్తానన్నా, హ్యూమన్ మనం ఎలా తీసుకుంటాం గాలి? త్రూ నోస్ అండ్ లంగ్స్. ఓకే, ద ఆర్గాన్స్. నెక్స్ట్ ఫిష్, గిల్స్ ఉంటాయి. మనం ఫిష్ ఇంట్లో మనము సండేస్ తెచ్చుకున్నప్పుడు లోపల మనము హెడ్ దగ్గర చూస్తాం కదా, గిల్స్ గిల్స్ గిల్స్, అది స్కిన్. కొన్ని రెప్టైల్స్ ఏం చేస్తాయి? త్రూ దేర్ స్కిన్, ఓకే, they'll take the air. Okay, so these are some certain examples for you. So in your 10th textbook this is there. Okay, human. What are the events? So what is the first one written here is the breathing. What is a breathing? So what is the difference between a breathing and respiration? Breathing is just simply taking in air, okay, that's called inspiration. Leaving out air, it's called the expiration. So whenever this breathing happens, okay, what events will occur in breathing here? The air from atmosphere, okay, the air from atmosphere, so it will enter into the lungs. It will enter into the lungs through the nostrils, through lungs, through nostrils or nose simply. What are nostrils, by the way? Small holes. These are the nostrils. Through the nostrils, the air ఏమైపోతుంది? బ్రీతింగ్ అంటే ఏంటి? మనము ఆక్సిజన్ తీసుకుంటాం, we leave out the carbon dioxide. That's simply called the breathing. So whenever we breathe, okay, say like this, take a breathe here, you're taking oxygen. So when breathe out, okay, that you leave the carbon dioxide, that's called the breathing. When you breathe in, that's called inspiration. When you breathe out, relax, that's called expiration. So what is the first step here? From outside surroundings, from environment, from our surroundings, we take the air, that means the oxygen, through our nose and in these holes called the nostrils. Then after entering into the, so it will enter the nostril here like this. So then what is the passage here? So you can see it here. Okay, this is the respiratory system.
Hello students, myself Sunil Kumar Badal. I have done my BTech from IIT Kanpur. Here at K. Venkanna classes, I teach chemistry. So right now I know you all are busy with your board exam preparation, but let me ask you a question. Suppose you want to be a cricketer. Who would you choose your coach? A cricketer or a wrestler? Answer is definitely cricketer. So in the same way here, we are the group of IITians, NITian and doctor. So if you really want to crack or get a seat into IIT, NIT or any top medical colleges, come here and join.
Okay, so see here, from air from outside it will enter into the nasal cavity. This cavity from nostrils, it will enter into the cavity. This cavity here, cavity means a space. Okay, then it will enter into the windpipe. Then enter in, there are two systems. Digestive system is separate and the respiratory system is also separate. They are not connected. They are not connected. They are separate. So it will, and this is the pharynx. I didn't written here. This is the pharynx. Okay, is a common passage. So from here, air will enter, from mouth, food. So both common passage, but for both food as well as the air. So common for both food plus air. So both common passage. So here food will come, air will come. So this is the next, this is the continuation of the digestive system. Here what will happen is, whenever we just eat food, okay, see, whenever what happens here is the epiglottis will close, okay, so that it will not allow the air into the passage. Ela untundi when we swallow it, like epiglottis is like a flap like a structure. Okay, we are swallowing the food. So when food is coming, okay, it will close it. It will close. Okay, so like that. So here wind will pass into the larynx, and larynx is a voice box. So when we get a sound here, because of the vibrations of the air, we get this sound here. And next is followed by the long windpipe called the trachea. The trachea will have the C-shaped cartilages called the windpipe. This again is trachea is divided into two parts called bronchi. Like this, the bronchi, again this bronchi will divide into bronchioles. Okay na? Its epiglottis ela untundante just manaki in a jarud ballala untundannamata. Okay na? It's like when a food is there, like that, it simply moves the food like this. Like this. It will close the windpipe. It will close the windpipe. It will only allow the food. See here, food is there here. See, our food is there. Okay. What I said, epiglottis is like flap like structure. So flap. Food is there. It's like flap. Okay, it's a flap. Flap like structure. Okay. This is the food, right? So it will close the wind here. This is the windpipe. Understood, ma? So this is a food here. So whenever food is there, food we are swallowing, so what the epiglottis will do here, it will close the windpipe. It will close the windpipe so that the food can't enter into the wind. So whenever we are not eating any, so we are not having any food, so it will be in a normal state. Okay, no food. Okay, this is a normal state. It won't close the windpipe. So ila windpipe anedi manam close cheyadam valla, so ఏమవుతుంది, ఫుడ్ అనేది విండ్ లోనికి వెళ్ళదు. సో when in absence of the food there is no need, directly ఏమైపోతుంది, విండ్ ఇలా వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. సో ఇట్స్ లైక్ ఫ్లాప్ లైక్ స్ట్రక్చర్. సో అందుకే మనము తినేటప్పుడు జాగ్రత్తగా తినాలి అని అంటారు. ఓ మింగేసేయడం కాదు. ఏమైపోతుంది, కొన్నిసార్లు అన్ఎక్స్పెక్టెడ్గా విండ్ పైప్లోకి ఫుడ్ వెళ్ళిపోతుంది. ఎందుకు అంటే లైక్ బికాస్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ ఎపిగ్లాటిస్ అనేది ఫుడ్ మనం స్వాలో చేసినప్పుడు, సో వాట్ విల్ హ్యాపెన్, ఇట్స్ జాబ్ ఈస్ టు క్లోజ్ ది విండ్ పైప్. ఫుడ్ని మాత్రమే, ఇప్పుడు విండ్ క్లోజ్ అయిపోయింది కదా, దెర్ ఇస్ నో ప్యాసేజ్ హియర్. So definitely it will enter the digestive system. Definitely it will enter the digestive system here. So it not enter the wind. See here, you can see. Okay. So ఏం చేస్తుంది, ఫుడ్ ఉంది కదా, ఇది అంతా digestive system క్లోజ్ చేసేస్తుంది ఇక్కడ. Like this. It will close the, it will only allow the air to pass. So this is the passage. So from nose it will enter into the pharynx, after then larynx. What I mean to say is, here breathing means air from outside, it will enter into the lungs here. So this is the first step. From this slide we can get the two terms also, inspiration, expiration. Breathing in, air is called inspiration, breathing out is the expiration. So this is also another question also. Next we'll discuss that. This is a pathway. I'm just only showing the events for you. So understood? I hope you understood, ma. All of you just try it, okay? This thing, imagine, just you have to imagine, you have to feel that. When you feel it, you'll just definitely get this subject. When you are just worried about the things, what all these are like critical one, if you feel like that, the things won't happen. When you take it light, when you feel everything, you can simply get the idea, I mean, you'll have the better knowledge on the subject, I mean command. So what happened here? Breathing, air from atmosphere enters into the lung. So from our air is in the lung. First step is over. First step over. Then what will happen in the lung here? Exchange, gaseous exchange will happen. In the lung, bronchus and bronchioles, they end with the alveoli here. So what will happen in the lung here is from alveoli to capillaries. Exchange of gas will happen. Exchange of gas. See how here is the answer. So in the bronchus here, in the bronchus, the bronchioles, they end with the alveoli. Alveoli are the units of lung. What is the unit of lung? Alveoli are the units of lung, where the gas exchange happens. So each alveoli is like sac-like structure like this. Like sac, okay? Like sac-like structure. This alveoli is surrounded by the capillaries. This is the capillaries. So అర్థమవుతుందా నాన్న? Air from outside will enter into the lungs. So outside లో ఏముంది? Oxygen we have taken it. Okay, understood this? From outside we have taken the oxygen. So it will enter into the capillaries here. Okay. Then who is there in the capillaries? CO2. CO2. Now CO2 will enter into the alveoli. So when we breathe in, oxygen enters. When we breathe out, carbon dioxide. So this you can see here. So the gaseous exchange will happen in the lung level. That means from alveoli to capillaries. What will happen now? Now the capillaries had the blood. So whatever the alveoli is having the oxygen, it will give to the blood. So what is there in the capillaries? Blood is there. Okay, is it fine, right? Understood, ma? So what is there in the alveoli? Oxygen. So it will give to the blood capillaries. So in here it will exchange in blood capillaries. So the blood capillaries will have the blood. So blood will receive that oxygen, and meanwhile even the CO2 present in the blood will enter into the alveoli here. So vice versa, oxygen to blood, whatever the blood, the waste, I mean the carbon dioxide will enter into the alveoli here. So after that, the blood combines with oxygen. What is there in the blood? Hemoglobin, Hb. So hemoglobin, what is the iron present in, what is the metal present in that? Iron, Fe+2. Okay, this hemoglobin, it is always, it is tendency to catch, it is always, there is a tendency to catch hold of the oxygen. So this hemoglobin, it combines with the oxygen. So it is so ready, eppudu dorkite chance appudu pattesukundamani chustundi. That's called the oxyhemoglobin. Then what is the difference between chlorophyll to hemoglobin? The only difference is the chlorophyll will have the magnesium atom in the center, and here the hemoglobin will have the iron in the center. So this exchange will happen here. Next, after reaching the blood, definitely the blood will enter to the heart. It will pump to each and every cell. So it will reach the tissue, from cells to tissue. The same thing will happen here. The cells will receive the oxygen and they release out the carbon dioxide. So finally we'll enter our goal. What is our goal? What is our goal, ma? Not golf. Okay, goal means to get energy is our goal. So respiration, why this process happening? Why this inta cheppi kuda waste kada? Why this process will happen? Because of the energy only. So now the cellular respiration will take place. So inside a cell we'll be having the glucose. Through food we get the glucose. Even the plants also, with the help of photosynthesis, they form the glucose. So whatever may be the source, okay, whatever may be the pathway, the source is the glucose. Now in a cell, the glucose will break down. The process we call it as glycolysis process. So 6 carbon compound, that is a glucose, will break down into 3 carbon compound. What is a 3 carbon compound? Pyruvic acid, pyruvate, we simply call it. So it will break down into like that, and there are many steps like a Krebs cycle in between, oxidative, that's all not needed. From here the scenario will change. It depends on the organism, whether they are aerobic, whether they are not aerobic, like that. Only the thing is, the cellular respiration will happen in both plants as well as animals. So if the energy is occurring by means in the presence of oxygen, called aerobic oxygen, anaerobic absence of oxygen. But the source is same, the glucose, the source is the same here, but if the glycolysis will happen both in the presence of oxygen as well as in the absence of oxygen also it will happen. So here we get the energy, that energy is stored in the mitochondria. Okay, the plants, okay, the plants or any organism, they release the carbon dioxide and heat. Just simply reverse to the photosynthesis is the respiration. So that's the cellular respiration. We'll discuss it in the detail also in the next coming video. So that's the events. This can be asked as the 4 mark or even the 2 mark. They can simply ask the block diagram. So can you tell the steps here along with me? What's the first step? Breathing. Just we breathe in, we breathe out. Inspiration, expiration. So that's the first one. Then after air from outside entering into the lungs, they reach the lung. Okay. In the lung, what will happen? Exchange of gases will take place. O2 from alveoli to blood. From blood, carbon dioxide will enter into the alveoli here. So breathe in, breathe out. Then after these cells, they reach to the tissue level, and cellular, the heart will pump to each and every cell blood. Blood combines with the oxygen, that means hemoglobin combines with oxygen. So in a cell we can see the cellular respiration, how we are getting the energy, how the glucose is broken down here. These are the certain events in the cellular respiration. So that's about the events in respiration.